So thank you for taking the time to join me, and thank you to the Event Leadership Institute for hosting me as well. So today we're actually having this session within the Metaverse, which is kind of fun. So just briefly wanted to tell you about my history in this industry. I've actually been working in virtual reality since, well, early 90s, and I started the Virtual Reality Association in 1994. And the platform you're in today is actually built by my company, so it's something that we can enjoy as we're going through this event. But what I want to talk to you about today is deconstructing the metaverse. We're getting so much press, so much noise about what the metaverse is, and it's quite confusing. And really there are some solid use cases for the metaverse, and I wanted to today kind of break that down and explain to you what it is, how it works, and where the benefits are, especially for events. So in the way that I'm looking at it, there's actually three different types of metaverse, or three terms that are being used in the industry. And let me just reset the slideshow here. And they are the metaverse for entertainment, the metaverse for blockchain, and the metaverse for business. So the metaverse for entertainment, you're probably hearing about games where there are millions of players going into these game worlds, and brands are trying to get in there to market their wares. These can be things like Nike and other brands doing ads or placements inside these metaverse worlds where there's a large amount of traffic. And that's where generally people are going to have entertainment and spend time socializing, having fun. And they are opportunities for marketers to get in there and share their brands or share their wares and get a bit of exposure. Pretty much it's experimental advertising. Then there is the metaverse for blockchain. So the blockchain community has really adopted the metaverse term, and they're using that to describe anything from cryptocurrencies to virtual goods like NFTs and even new business models for the internet. And then there's the metaverse for business, which is more around virtual events like we're in today, virtual meetings, and also training and learning. Now, the metaverse, a lot of people also think about metaverse in parallel with virtual reality. It doesn't require virtual reality devices. It's something that can work on any device. You should be able to join it on a mobile phone, a tablet, a laptop, and a virtual reality headset if you wish, but it shouldn't be a requirement. So virtual reality is an aspect and something that can create a much more immersive experience, but it isn't necessary. Really, anyone should be able to join a metaverse on any device, and that's super important, especially for the events industry. You want people to be able to join just like you have today. You followed a link, you've clicked on a button to join in your browser. You didn't need to install or download anything, and that makes it super accessible. And that's really the future of the metaverse, that it will be accessible to everyone. And anyone will also be able to create their own experiences in the metaverse. And so that's what I call the web of worlds. So the metaverse is actually, as I see it in the future, a web of worlds. At the moment we have games where people go to these walled gardens. Essentially they're an application that somebody controls. You can go in there as a user, and perhaps you'll have some rights over building or creating some content, but ultimately that world is owned by a company. They control it, they decide how the users are going to engage in it, and they might give you or allow you to do some things in that world. So these are usually large entertainment companies or social media companies that own these worlds, and they're allowing you to use it in some way. But it's quite restricted because you're in their garden, their rule set, and that means you have to only do things that they allow functionally, and also with different terms, meaning you can do only certain things within them. For instance, in our platform there was a beverage brand that wanted to do a virtual experience, and they couldn't do it in these game-based virtual worlds because they had an alcoholic beverage. So instead they were able to use an independent platform like this to create their own virtual world, their own metaverse that they have. So that's something that only you can do if you're in control of your own world. Now, that's something that I see as the future. At the moment, you've got games, and they're walled gardens, as I said, and there's even some social virtual worlds that are being talked about that are meant to be open, but the companies behind them are really controlling them. So if you think about the World Wide Web and the way that works, anyone can build a website and host what they want on it, and they're in full control of that website. So you can have a website, your clients can have websites, everyone is in control of what they do on that particular space. And the same model applies to virtual worlds or the metaverse. Each company, corporation, individual can have their own world and be in control of it, decide who comes in and out of it, and decide what sort of content or shared experiences they have within that environment. So that's how I see the metaverse kind of evolving in the future. At the moment, games are really flashy and amazing in their quality. The web-based virtual worlds that we're in at the moment can't quite reach that, but they will eventually. And the blockchain metaverse kind of elements will also weave their way into these 3D experiences too. So we're on a convergence course with all of these components over the next 3 to 5 years, but it really creates this ability for anyone to get involved, for no real barriers to entry, and it can really take off in the same way that the web did. So this is a pretty exciting time. We're only at the beginning now, but it is something you can get involved in and start creating a return on investment, especially for events right now. So I briefly wanted to talk about engagement. If you're all from the events industry, you've probably used various event platforms, and I'd like to break them down into 3 segments. There are 2D event platforms, 2.5D event platforms, and 3D event platforms. Now 2D is your traditional video sessions where you have a flat video of a presenter, or you have multiple screens of 4 or 5 presenters broadcasting at you. And it's great for presenters, really great tools we have for presentation nowadays, just amazing. Anyone can get on and start doing a webinar presentation. But for the audience, they're kind of invisible. We'll get to that in a moment. The 2.5D is what I call microsites or mini sites. You'll see those in event platforms that have, let's say, a picture of a lobby and a picture of an auditorium or a picture of an exhibition stand, and you can go to these different web pages and look at these different pictures. They might have clickable elements on them, but really it's just a micro website, and perhaps the image of the auditorium also has a rectangular region for a video stream as well. Now, those microsites are developed with specific event features. They're kind of good, but I think nowadays we realize that we've moved beyond that and we can now have much more immersive experiences. So in 3D, we actually allow people to come in as avatars and explore environments. And this is really important because it adds to engagement. What we want is a person to come to an event, be fully engaged, and leave the event with certain outcomes that we want. It might be more relationship building, it might be stronger memories of the experience, and also allowing for people to not be invisible. So when we look at the other event platforms, the traditional ones, the users are really just regulated to maybe a chat on the right hand side. If you're doing a Zoom presentation, you can do a maximum of 49 thumbnails, and that is pretty much it for the presenter, for the audience. They're invisible otherwise. With these type of 3D experiences though, the audience becomes visible. They become present, and more than that, become co-present with each other. So you can have serendipitous meetings where you run into someone in a hallway or sit down in a lounge and start chatting to people. And this whole event world, we're just in one space right now, but you can get lots of different kind of spaces put together into an event world. I'm hearing some messages saying my video is pixelated, but hopefully you can hear me quite clearly. And yes, Howard, it's intentional that I'm not inside the screen, a little bit outside of it, just trying out a new kind of holographic projection here to break out of the rectangular boxes we're all used to. So as long as you can hear me, that's the main thing. I'm experimenting with green screen and breaking out of the traditional box. Okay, so engagement is really key. Having people be able to explore a world, be in control of their own experience, actually gives them individual memories. So each person coming to one of these events has a unique path that they followed, a unique journey they take away with them. I often say if you want to compare a traditional event experience stream to a metaverse stream, the real key is thinking to yourself, if I could watch a recording of this, would it be vastly different from having been there live? If they are the same, then it's really not an engaging event where an audience is given agency. So this is really important to think about. A person, if you go to a live event, you go to a trade show, you're walking around, going to different booths, meeting people, going to different sessions, having hallway conversations, that's your own journey. And the online event platforms don't traditionally deliver that, but a metaverse experience can. But be careful, because a lot of people are now using the term metaverse, and they're really just the old traditional 2.5D or even 2D engagement experiences. So if the person can't have their own journey and unique experience and develop unique memories from that, then it's not really a metaverse experience. So that brings me down to a pretty simple equation. Having presence, being present in the environment, and having agency over your experience leads to shared experiences. This is where people connect and they start to develop relationships and start to build something quite profound out of these 3D virtual worlds. And yeah, the presentation is experimental as well. So you're here as guinea pigs with a new style of format that I'm trying. Certainly the presentation is a little bit different to what we're used to. So thank you for being my test subjects. Now, the virtual events themselves can be really, really useful, specifically for different types of experience. One of the experience types is expos and trade shows. So an expo or a trade show is something that you traditionally would have on a 2D experience would be very limited. Maybe you can have an expo area where people look. For example, TEDx did an event in the platform, and they, as a team, built their own scavenger hunt where you go around and talk to virtual characters and walk through a story that they'd created. So it really opens up the ideas of what you can achieve rather than just presenting a video stream. And here we have another example. I can't share the name of this one, but they actually had a yoga session with a yoga teacher explaining how to do things. The avatars have a number of different yoga poses. You could put them in while you were doing the real poses in your home office or wherever you happen to be. So great for wellness and health as well. Another example, Dell Technologies created a roadshow allowing you to go around and actually in this case use virtual reality headsets, and you could go into a virtual education experience with all their products and place them around the room and kind of win prizes for doing that. And because the whole platform is multi-user, you can actually have the experience work in VR on site, but also on mobile phones, tablets and laptops. So building one experience that works everywhere allows you to extend the experience far beyond just, let's say, a hybrid event where you're working inside the a real space with virtual reality headsets, then extending that for people after the show to use their own devices to engage it again and again. So those are just a few examples of how the metaverse events can be run. Really, it's unlimited. You can come up with all sorts of run of shows that you're interested in. Really, there's no limitation to the amount of branding and engagement you can include, scavenger hunts and so forth. For example, TEDx did an event in the platform, and they, as a team, built their own scavenger hunt where you go around and talk to virtual characters and walk through a story that they'd created. So it really opens up the ideas of what you can achieve rather than just presenting a video stream. So those are some of the examples that I wanted to share, and pretty much that is just a short, very short taste of some of the capabilities that you have with virtual events. But I did want to share one more thing today, and you're actually the first people to experience this, and you've been using the event platform Hubilo, which is Hubilo today, and that's been great for running the event, presenting streams and so on. But it's also, as you've noticed, you just click the Metaverse button and you've joined us in this virtual world. So today we're actually launching officially the integration of MootUp and Hubilo. So this is a deep integration that allows you to have metaverse experiences inside traditional event platforms, and this is going to unlock a level of engagement that hasn't been seen before. So I'm really excited to announce that integration, and I'm very, very thankful that you've been able to join me today and actually get a taste of that with your own avatars and in this experience. So thank you so much. I'll open it up to questions. If anyone wants to ask questions, please do so in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them.
Danny, Danny, it's Howard. Are you able to hear my audio?
Yeah, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, great. So this is a pretty interesting environment. So I'm in an avatar when I'm moving around, but I'm also projecting my video feed directly onto the screen. So for those of you that might have been a little bit thrown, I don't know how many people saw my chat comments. When we did a run through previously with this video feed in the screen is what Danny looked like. And what he's trying out now is looks like a true green screen as opposed to just a green window, I guess. Showing some of the capabilities here. And on the other green window to Danny's left, to my right, or to your right as you look at the screen, the slides fit neatly into there. So there are a lot of really interesting opportunities with this, and I appreciate Danny trying out some new things with us. The goal of this was just to give everybody a chance to kind of jump in. There you go. So I just want to make sure everyone sees the best foot forward for MootUp, because their stuff really rocks, and the integration with Hubilo was a home run. I mean, we were just so excited to find out that it was just a button within the navigation. Danny, I just had a quick question for you. You talked about this earlier, and I just want to clarify. When people say metaverse, and there's a gazillion articles out there, and so many of them are full of crap, and they just kind of are rambling out there. What we're in right now is a private, closed metaverse, right? That MootUp has created, that is just invited to the people, is just open to the people that we invited, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So you can create your own private world, just like you have your own private website or private event. And you can, your choice. You can open it up to guests so anyone can come in. You can have it private, so they have to be in the event platform first. Or you can have it actually linked to what's called SSO, single sign-on. So a person has to use their corporate login in order to get into the environment as well. I saw Leslie McGuire just mentioned in the comments there that you like the breakbox style better for Danny. I'm definitely going to use that term to describe that as break the box style video. So thank you, Leslie, for the idea.
Yeah. What I was going to say is there's not a single metaverse. Metaverse is a type of environment, right? So we're in a private one, but when people talk about doing events in the metaverse, Fortnite is its own metaverse, right? There's tens of millions of gamers that are in the Fortnite world, and when Travis Scott did a concert in Fortnite a couple of years ago, that was one of the first most seminal moments of bringing a real life person into a metaverse environment. And there are a number of existing metaverses, right? Like Decentraland and Sandbox, and there's a couple of others that groups can go into. And so when planners are thinking about how do we get into metaverse, they need to just understand that, okay, are we going into an existing brand's metaverse and lots are going to be created, or are we creating our own metaverse? So if I'm doing if I'm Salesforce and I'm doing the Dreamforce event with thousands of people, we could build our own metaverse, and this is just one room within that metaverse, right? We can just zip around like we're in a video game and go to different convention rooms or party spaces or things like that, and that would be creating their own Dreamforce metaverse. Did I get that right?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, in our platform, we have 50 different templates ready to go. If you want a disco, if you want a lounge area, if you want an expo hall, they're all ready to go, and you just add them to your virtual world. And a better way to think about it is that each organization has their own virtual world. And in total, all of these virtual worlds make up the metaverse, whether they're for entertainment, for games, for blockchain, and that's a good way to look at it. But the metaverse is a term that you can almost use as like saying internet or the web, but it's the three-dimensional aspect of it. But still, it's being used now interchangeably with virtual world. So if I have a virtual world, I have a metaverse. That is the way that the term is being used.
I agree. And Kelly Chen put in what I was just going to say. She said, was Second Life the first generation of metaverse? I think it was. And I was on an industry association board of the New York chapter. I forget whether it was MPI or ILEA or something. And we did an event, I'm going to say it was 2008, maybe 2009. And we had someone talk about Second Life, and we had someone talk about virtual event platforms. I think the company was Unisphere or Inexpo. But it was, back then, that's what it was, right? So Second Life was, for those people that remember it, they were people building businesses in Second Life and homes there. It was almost like a version of Minecraft or Roblox or something like that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Second Life is probably the most renowned historically for building the virtual world, but having been involved in the industry, even pre-internet building virtual reality businesses, there are a few others that come even before that. One is called Black Sun, which is actually a reference to Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash cyberpunk novel. And there were worlds like Alpha World even prior to that. Yeah, that's right. So there are lots of different virtual worlds. And in fact, I actually was building multi-user virtual worlds with Netscape, which was a browser used in the early days of the internet as well.
The first browser.
So it's something that's, yeah. So it's been around for a long time, but Second Life definitely one of the more renowned and popular ones that really spurred a new wave of interest in virtual worlds. That's a great thing. There's been so much work and effort put in over generations now that there is a great foundation for building these types of technologies. And that means that we're going to see more and more use. But really, we're at the foothills of where it's going to go. By the way, I did want to mention to everyone, if you want to, you can just type dance in the chat. If you want to see your avatar dance, you can do that. There's lots of fun things in here. And you can click on other avatars to request actions like hugs and high fives. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I do recommend trying out some of the engagement features.
Oh, look at you dancing. I like that. I have to wrap up, but I want to just say, in planning this summit, when I wanted to tackle Metaverse, I did a lot of research, and there are a lot of people talking but not having the experience to back up the talk. And I found Danny and Danny's company as the people who've been at this for a while. And so if you go and you want to explore this, I would highly recommend MootUp. They're not paying us for anything. We reached out because we found that they were the best people to be authorities on this subject. So Danny's been in this space for long before Facebook changed their name to Meta and this became a hot topic. So highly recommend reaching out to these guys. They're doing some very cool, innovative stuff. In fact, that we're able to do this within the Hubilo platform is phenomenal, but we do have to wrap up. So I'm going to encourage everybody to go back to the main stage, click on the agenda button or the agenda icon right next to reception. And we have a little bit of a treat for you. So we're going to stay in this sort of like virtual environment, and we're going to explore holograms and virtual stages, and you're going to see what that experience was like as well. So Danny, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate this.